Good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel. This video is not financial advice. I'm a financial advisor doing research, making decisions. Okay, guys, welcome back. So this is just going to be a general update. I'm just going to be giving my thoughts on a few things, and I'm not going to be getting into any type of technical stuff with ICP in this video. No real valuable information. So if you want to tune out now, that's perfectly fine. For those that want to continue watching, that's fine too. I just want to get my thoughts out on a specific thing that I've been observing for a long time. And yeah, I'm going to be vague and general in this video. If I ever do discuss this topic again in the future, which I might, I will be very specific in any future mentioning of this whole situation. But I just want to start by saying that I greatly appreciate all the supporters. It means a lot. It's been a long journey and it's still going on. And so I really appreciate. I wouldn't be doing this if there was. I wouldn't still be doing this if there wasn't some degree of like consistent support. So I really appreciate it. And but what I'm going to be discussing in this video is something that I've observed for several years. It's not like I observed one or two things over a short period of time. I have been sitting back and watching this for the last few years. And now that I've been back on Twitter for almost 2 years, I've kind of gotten a upfront view of everything. And it's become even more apparent ever since I got back on Twitter. And I want to explicitly say at the beginning of this video that nothing I'm going to be saying in this video is has anything to do with any of the higher ups at dfinity, any of the people like at the top of the food chain. Nothing that I'm going to be saying has anything to do with them. All right, but with numerous other people and other people that have kind of been, I would say, put in position, or their position is kind of dictated based on their proximity to dfinity. I've just, well, before I get into this, I just want to say that, I've led the reason I pay attention to stuff like this is because I've led a large portion of the general education. And I know that. I can scan the internet, I can scan social media and say, okay, who's really driving XYZ conversations? And especially with AI, and especially with AI on ICP versus Web 2, which is critical education to understand the value proposition of AI on ICP. It's all relative. When you're explaining why AI on ICP is such a big deal, you kind of have to do the relative comparison to Web 2 to really drive home the value proposition. But I've also handled a lot of the FUD and the noise, not just like over the last 3+ years, right? But I've watched shit posters, people who generally bear posts or attack Dfinity, people who have launched, promoted numerous rugs, get more support than my channel. And there's been many, many examples of this for a longer period of time. And so when I see this, I have to sit back and ask myself, I have to try to make sense of everything that I observe. That's become a trend, okay? Not that something that happened once or twice or anything like that. Something that's become a trend over a period of time. And it's just been a very interesting thing to observe. I'll put it that way. And if I'm being 100% honest, it's always kind of seemed like there's been some degree of an effort to box me out of different things. It didn't work. It backfired, and it's really going to fucking backfire over the next few years. Because once I kind of said, yeah, this kind of seems like people are trying to box me out. Once I fully determined that, that's when I was like, okay, I was gonna go away. I was just gonna slide into the background. I was just gonna drift off into the sunset. And I tried to. For those, like, if you go back to when Jerry started covering ICP. That in my mind, that was okay. Jerry's got it. Like other people are gonna start, driving the conversation, and I was perfectly cool with that. I was perfectly cool with that. I even took 2 months to go look into the MH370 story, right? And but the universe had other plans, and now I now I'm gonna just go full force over the next 5 years. And yeah, but I've started paying closer attention. I used to not pay any attention to who was supporting the channel and who wasn't, like on Twitter. I used to pay no attention to that at all. And because I never really care, I don't really care about engagement metrics. I never cared about likes and retweets and stuff like that because I don't make any money doing this. So there was never any reason for me to care about like specifically looking at who was supporting the channel and who wasn't. I never really looked into that until the last 6 to 12 months. Yeah. And I will say this too. This might be have something to do with why why things have kind of happened the way they have. And let me back up really quick and go back to something else. When I say this is not about any of the higher ups, the only people at dfinity who have ever shown my channel any degree of support are the higher ups. That's it. That is it. And I greatly appreciate it. I can't overstate how much I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And but I would also understand if they just wanted to distance themselves. And just yeah, I would 100% be fine with that. Yeah. But those are the only people who have ever showed my channel any support. And but I also understand I kind of push the envelope more than most, and I might be a little bit of a wild card. So if just for like a public perception thing, if they wanted to keep their distance, I have no issues with that, and it's never going to change. And even if nobody would have ever showed my channel any support, I still would have kept doing exactly what I've been doing. But yeah, but I do just want to say for those that have generally, shown my channel some support, mostly only the higher ups. I really appreciate it. It does mean a lot. Um, but I've watched so many other people. Um, again, I've seen shit posters, people who generally bear posts or attack Affinity, and people who have promoted and launched numerous rugs get more support than my channel. And it's not, again, this is not like a brief thing that happened once. This is something I've observed over an extended period of time. And if I ever do mention this again in the future, I will mention specifics and I will mention a lot of specifics. I will have everything laid out and just say bam, 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 bam over an extended period of time. And I wasn't a part of the original crowd. And I've always, you know, I wasn't a part of the original crowd. I'll put it that way. But none of them could last, or most of them couldn't last. And I don't know. I'll just, it's always kind of felt like some of the strongest contributors don't really get the support. Maybe it's because people deem that they don't need the support as much because or that I don't need this. I don't know. I don't, and honestly, I would be perfectly fine getting no. It's that when I watch shit posters, people who bear posts, people who promote rug, when I see them getting more support than my channel, that's when I'm start to pay attention. If that's not happening, I'm not even I'm not even this yeah, this I'm not even doing this video. I'm not even paying attention to this. But when I see those types of accounts, projects get more support than my channel, I start paying very close attention of who's supporting them and are those people supporting my channel, so on and so forth. And I start asking a lot of questions. Yeah. Admittedly, it has seemed as though some people have wanted to box me out of the conversation. And unfortunately for them, it didn't work. Um, it really didn't work. And that is really going to backfire. It's already backfired, but imagine the degree to which it's backfired times 100. And that's what everybody has in store. Yeah. I've had 3.5 years to make this assessment, and I've never spoken about this like specifically before. And I'm not even going into specifics in this video. I'm going to try to be as vague and general as possible. Because if I really did start going into all the different specifics, I just don't want to do that right now. Um, but but because it has seemed like people wanted to gatekeep, some people have wanted to gatekeep, a decent number of people. I'm going to go for a full takeover of the conversation over the next 5 years. And I welcome all challengers. I would have just, had this not happened, and had I not had so much opposition and resistance in this ecosystem, just trying to get the bull case out. That's all I've been trying to do. I've just been trying to lay out the bull case and do education. And I face so much opposition from all areas. And So now I'm going for a full takeover over the next 5 years. I would have just, I was planning on stepping away. And if you go back and look at my channel, that's, I was like, again, when Jerry and them got here, or Jerry and other people started, I was like, this is it. And I was looking forward to it. I even did a video about it on my main channel, right? And I said, I did a video about it. And I was just like, this is the first time I've kind of felt like I don't need to do ICP content anymore, or don't need to do it nearly as much anymore, right? And it's not that I was ever planning on like 100% just disconnecting from everything, but I was planning on taking a back seat. But my plans have changed. Yeah. So when I see the noise, this is really what it comes down to. Is I put a lot of time and energy into what I'm doing. And when I see the noise being supported, if that wasn't happening, I'm not saying this, right? But when I see the noise being supported, especially when the noise is being supported more than the signal, I start thinking of realistic explanations of why that would be. And there's not but so many realistic explanations of why that would be. And now it's different person to person. I don't think there's one uniform explanation, but it's different person to person. I think there's some overlapping themes and common characteristics, but it is different person to person. But I can tell a decent number of people don't want me here. But I tried to be generally supportive of everybody. I tried. The only people I ever had an issue with was that if you were directly fudding at the bottom and fudding out retail normies, I would have an issue with that. Or if you were outright rugging people, those are the only two times I've ever had an issue with anybody in this ecosystem. But the thing is that we've had so many people in the ecosystem that have never left, that have just been bear posting and fudding. And so it's like, on top of that, we have a number of people in the ecosystem that have been tied to numerous different rugs, scams, abandoned project, right? And so that's just been, I guess that's kind of common of most ecosystems, but I tried to be supportive of everyone. The only exception was the ruggers, and I feel like that's very reasonable. And a lot of the early crowd has a lot of abandoned projects and rugs tied to them. I don't, but a lot of them did. And so if maybe I created enemies just saying something about rugging projects, abandoning projects, extracting liquidity, I have to be able to make sense of things. So when I see where support goes and where it doesn't, I try to figure out why. And I would have just slid into the background. I tried turning it over, but now it's game on. And best of luck to anybody else who seriously wants to compete for the public conversation, the public narrative, the content play over the next however many years. But I'm going for a full blown takeover. Yeah. And I have limitless endurance for this. And my range as far as what I can do with content is just so wide. I haven't even gotten started. I really haven't even gotten started. And to all the people that have been supportive, it means a lot. The people that have been support people, most people that support the channel don't understand how big my opposition is. They can't see it, and I don't blame any of y'all for not being able to see it, because it took me a while. I'm just now really speaking about this, and I'm being very general and vague, but I'm just now really talking about this for 4 years in. That's how long it's taken me. I used to be generally supportive of try to be supportive of everybody. But that's how long it's taken me to kind of really see everything. I had to get back on Twitter. I had to like really start analyzing who supports the channel, who doesn't. For the people who don't support the channel, um, are they supporting other things? Are they promoting the noise? And a decent amount of them are, which was interesting. But to everybody that is supportive, I really do appreciate it. And for everybody, or for anybody who did try to keep me out or prevent me from getting this far, um, all it's done is solidify my commitment of going for a full blown takeover. And I welcome all challengers. Yeah. Um, I think it will be very easy for me to outlast pretty much everybody. It's just crazy. Anyways, man, I'm gonna shut it down there. I'm gonna shut it down right there. And I know this was very vague and general, and um, if I ever do discuss this again, I will be very specific. That's it. And not financial advice. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. Thank you all to all the supporters, and take care. Have a good day. I'll see you in the next video.